Hello, friends. Welcome to The Story Man. Today's story is called A Different Christmas. The house in the quiet suburbs of Mangalore still smelled faintly of Maria's favorite sandalwood incense, but the warmth that once filled its walls had evaporated. For David, the silence was the heaviest thing he had ever carried. David and Maria had spent 15 years in a marriage that many envied. They were a portrait of quiet devotion, attending Sunday Mass hand in hand, gardening in the evenings, and sharing tea on the porch. Their only sorrow was the empty cradle that never arrived. After years of prayers and failed medical treatments, a final, complicated procedure meant to help them conceive had gone tragically wrong. It left Maria's body frail and her health permanently shattered. Yet, even in her illness, her spirit remained a beacon. "If we cannot give life, David," she had whispered one evening, her hand trembling in his, we can still cherish a life that already exists." With that hope, they had filled out stacks of paperwork for various orphanages, dreaming of the day they would hear the pitter-patter of small feet. But time was a thief. Before the call would come, Maria's heart, weakened by years of struggle, finally gave way. She passed away on a rainy Tuesday, leaving David in a world that had suddenly lost its color. Christmas Eve arrived like a cold shadow. In previous years, the house would be bustling with the aroma of kulkuls and fruitcake, the vibrant star hanging in the portico, and Maria's laughter as she decorated the tree. Now the house was dark. David sat in his armchair staring at a framed photograph of Maria. He felt a profound, aching loneliness that no prayer seemed to soothe. He fell into a fitful sleep, dreaming of her. She was smiling, dressed in her favorite blue sari, pointing towards the front door with a look of serene anticipation. "Peace be with you, David," she seemed to whisper in the dream. The morning of Christmas Day broke with the distant sound of church bells. David woke up with a heavy chest, the reality of his solitude settling in. He wasn't expecting guests this time. He had no heart for celebrations. Suddenly, the sharp ring of the doorbell sliced through the silence. Frowning, David walked to the door and pulled it open. The morning sun was bright, making him squint. Standing there was a woman in a formal coat, carrying a bundle wrapped tightly in a soft pink wool blanket. "Mr. David D'Souza?" she asked softly. "Yes," David replied, his heart beginning to race. "I'm Sister Martha from the St. Jude's home. I'm so sorry for the delay. The paperwork was caught in a long administrative backlog, and we only recently processed the final approval your wife had initiated. We tried to call you several times, but your line was down." She stepped forward, shifting the bundle in her arms. "This is Grace. She is 4 months old. We wanted to bring her home to you on Christmas Day." David's breath caught in his throat. He looked down at the infant. She had white, dark eyes and a tiny tuft of black hair. As if sensing his gaze, the baby reached out a small, wondering hand and brushed against David's finger. The shock was a physical wave. He realized that this was the answer to the prayers Maria had whispered in her final days. The timing was too perfect. The moment was too sacred to be mere coincidence. He took the child in his arms, her warmth radiating through his heart. It was as if a piece of Maria had returned to him, a living, legacy of the love they had shared. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Sister Martha." The social worker smiled and stepped inside to finalize the documents, but David remained standing in the doorway for a moment longer. He closed his eyes, tilting his head towards the heavens. He could almost feel Maria's hand on his shoulder. Tears, hot and liberating, rolled down his cheeks and fell into the baby's blanket. For the first time in months, the silence in the house didn't feel like emptiness. It felt like peace. The greatest gift he had ever received had finally arrived, delivered by the hands of faith on a bright Christmas morning. Thank you.